Sunday's Can-Am 500 at Phoenix Raceway. We're now joined by Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 Nationwide Chevrolet. But before we get started with media questions, we're going to turn it over to Brian Sperber, the president here at Phoenix Raceway, who has a couple special surprises for Dale.
Thank you, Steph. Well, this is a bittersweet moment for us. We've got Dale Earnhardt Jr. here, of course, has won 3 times at Phoenix Raceway, making his last race here with us. So it's a bittersweet day, and Dale's meant so much to our sport, but particularly here at Phoenix. And so our fans are really going to be rooting for him and hope to have a big send-off on Sunday. Maybe see him in Victory Lane, which would be great. But before we get to that, we've got a couple of presentations for Dale. One which I'm really excited about, I hope you're going to be excited about, is courtesy of Twitter.
Oh, my.
I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
But Dale tweeted out best pickles he's ever had, Phoenix, Arizona. Well, it turns out that the best pickles on the planet are made right here at Phoenix. And with us, we have Dave Orn, who's the business development manager, and Cutter Pleasant, who's the brine master. Well, by the way, what a great title. Yeah. From Mrs. Klein's, and right here in Phoenix. So Dave, Cutter, can raise your, thank you guys. And we went to them and we said, hey, could you make up a special batch of pickles? And they said, absolutely, in honor of Dale. And we had them made up. This is called Dill Jr. pickles. And we got a special batch here that we're going to send you with. And they're my favorite pickles, too, man. They're awesome. And I'm going to have the guys come up. We're going to do a quick photo.
Sure.
Hey, Dale. How you doing? Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Got it, man. Yeah. Stay right here. Yep. What? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everybody right here first. Big smile. Here we go, guys. Awesome. Now, everybody else. Okay, great. Thank you. Nope. Guys, I'm sorry. We got to get one more. We stage one more for everybody else. There you go.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
You went there? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. You here?
Yeah, I'm here. Good.
Cool, man. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the bombs.
I'll take those.
Yeah.
I get a bunch of them when we come here.
Our next presentation is once a little bit more serious. You know, one of the things that Dale has said about Appreciation 88, that it was really about giving back to the communities in which we race in and others, and that really struck a chord with us here at Phoenix. And so today, I'm really delighted that in association with our partners at ISM Connect and Oakland Construction, and Bill Oakland is here. If you could raise your hand, Bill. Thank you. That today, through Phoenix Raceway Charities, we're able to make a $100,000 gift to Child Help, which is America's leading 501c3 combating child abuse nationwide. And I think that really speaks a lot about Dale and his legacy, that we're going to be able to have a tremendous impact on a group that's doing amazing work to combat child abuse. And so I'd like to have Amanda King from Child Help come up, and Bill Oakland, and we're going to make this $100,000 gift official.
Sure. Hi.
Okay, guys, hold it right up where I can see it. Everybody right here. Okay, big smile. There we go. Can I hold it up just a little bit more so I can see this? There you go. Right there. Okay, everybody else? Right?
Okay.
Everybody? Good. Okay, we're good?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll leave it.
Great job. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, that was, I really appreciate that. It's really great for the Speedway to make an impact in their community, and they certainly did an amazing thing today, donating to Child Help, and what an awesome amount of money to donate. That's quite generous. So I just I think on behalf of myself and my family, all our fans, we really want to thank you guys for that, and that'll hopefully make a lot of people's lives a lot better. The pickles are much appreciated too. My bus driver Kenny, as I was walking out of here, he knows about those pickles, and he's the one that gets them for me every time we come here. So he opened up the bay door on the bus and said he had a surprise for me, and he had 64 bottles of pickles in cases underneath the bus. So I'm taking home so many pickles this weekend. We're not going to need pickles for a while, but yeah, I can't wait. Actually, I got enough so I can actually share, which is something I enjoy doing. So thank you to the track, and this place has surprisingly become very special to me. I'd appreciated Phoenix for its history in motorsports, and I appreciate the effort that the track puts behind the facility as an example of the remodel that we see happening at the racetrack now. They have always put forth great efforts to be relative and to be on the cutting edge as a facility. So I've always had a lot of appreciation for the track, but I didn't know that we would have so much success here. So that certainly made this place very special to me, that we've won some races and had so much fun at this racetrack. So ever since we started winning here, I love the opportunity to come back and compete. I've enjoyed the reconfiguration that the track made several years ago, and you know, the area here is awesome. We love the weather. We never really have to ever worry about any rainouts, and when it does rain out, good things happen. So we on that rare chance. So again, yeah, thanks to the track, and I couldn't be, you know, couldn't be more appreciative of what you guys have done for our team over the years, and what will continue to be coming here as part of the NBC team. So it stays on the schedule, and I'm excited about that as well, to be able to come back out here and enjoy this track for many years to come.
All right, we're going to open it up to questions. We'll start up here with Mike and then go to Bob and Jonathan. Mike's up here by the glass.
Mike Embry, USA Today. Dale, Matt Kenseth apparently is mostly retiring without a fan tour or pickles or any of that. You raced against him for Rookie of the Year. How has your relationship with him evolved over the years?
It's really kind of stayed the same. Matt engaged me early in our careers in the Xfinity Series, and I was really shy, didn't have an understanding of how to interact with my peers and competitors that well, and I was just trying to do well. You know, I was really nervous coming up into the ranks, but Matt engaged me, and we became friends through conversations with him really quickly. We were both sort of coming into the Xfinity Series at the same time, went into the Cup Series together. We did a lot of things together, and we supported each other and enjoyed seeing each other have success. And Matt is, I love his sense of humor. I love the person he is and the person he's become, the father he is. We always, since the very beginning, have always been, at most racetracks, probably 80 or 90% of them, been neighbors in the bus lot. And so, you know, he's always had an influence on me as far as how I race or the person I want to be or become. And, you know, it's just been a great friendship. Even today, you know, this year we rode, you know, he rides and I ride, so we cycle a lot on Fridays together. And he jokes all the time when we found out about the news about our Amy's pregnancy. He joked that he was angry he didn't get a text from me before he read about it on the social media. So that's the kind of friend he is. You know, he expects to be one of those guys that you text when you had that kind of news, and I love that about Matt, and I love that he thinks that that's our friendship that we have, because that'll be with us long after we're done driving. And I hate to think that he's finished, knowing that he wants to continue to compete. I know that he wants to race and thinks, and I think he can obviously still be competitive, and I hope that he gets the opportunity that he wants to be able to continue. But it's going to make him, Homestead even more emotional, because we came in together, you know.
Said that you no longer worry about living up to your dad's expectations, that you have to live up to your dad, and that you're comfortable in your own skin. I'm curious, when did you start feeling that way?
I don't know. You know, I don't really know that. I read something on Twitter the other day. He said he's always lived under Dad's shadow, and that's not such a bad thing. And I don't know that you're always out from under it, but it never it didn't always compared to him, and compared to his success, the person he was. People either liked I was different or didn't like I was different, wanted me to be just like him, whatever, it was often in conversation or part of the topic of conversation in articles and so forth. But I really don't know when that started to happen, and I guess it's happening now. I'm going to go do something else after I'm done driving, and hopefully I'm just as proud of my accomplishments in the booth as I am on the racetrack. I would love for that career to be, a success, and that would definitely be out from under his shadow, but it's not something I really put a lot of thought into, or I just miss him so bad, and wish he were here today to see all this happening. So I don't know. I think you'll always be compared to him one way or another, for good, for better, for worse, as long as I'm around, I guess.
We'll go to Jonathan and then to Dave.
Jonathan Merriman, NASCAR.com. Dale, 2 races left, and then you transition to the booth. What has the weight of those emotions been like through the playoff? And if you've been ignoring that, when do you have to realize that, and what do you anticipate those emotions being?
Yeah, I feel like I almost need to apologize because I got a pregnant wife, I'm retiring, and I just feel like I'm going to break down any minute. I feel like every answer that I have has some sort of sad undertones and very, very, very emotional temperament. But it's starting to really sink in. I hadn't felt much. I went through Talladega. That was an emotional weekend, regardless of how many races were left in the year. But now I think after Texas, I don't know. I went hunting for a couple of days, and so I didn't really have to think about it too much. But got here, and I'm like, man, it's just a week away, And I'm not sure that I'm like, just ready to be going through all that, that emotion, I guess, that I'll have in Homestead. But it's coming, and I hope that I can handle it well. And but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that feels. But it's Amy. She's being pregnant. Bless her heart. She's tearing up at the drop of a hat. All these videos and things all these things that our partners are creating. This content has been just incredible. It makes you feel so good in your heart. The comments from fans, it's just so it's more than you can process, and I'm sure that Homestead's just going to be like the cork coming out of the bottle. So I'm lucky that Amy's going to be there. I'm lucky my family will be there, and and my team. I'll have so much support, and I want to support them, and it's going to be emotional for them and our fans. Just I don't know how to. I don't know really how to describe it. But I hope that you guys don't mind it being a little bit heavy. So,
Dave Coleman, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. To sort of follow up on Mike's question about Matt, you do have this long relationship, this close relationship. I think you tried to hire him at one point, or to recruit him. Do you have any good stories that you can share that maybe we haven't heard before? Any good insight we might not know?
Oh man. Well, Matt won his championship in 2003. I bet he was probably down 40 horsepower to everybody else. Roush probably wouldn't admit it, wouldn't like to hear that, but he was just an amazing driver. We beat him in the championship in the Xfinity Series. We had a whole lot more race car than he did, and he ran us pretty hard. I felt like that he did a lot in those 2 years with very little in the Xfinity Series, and so I'd always been impressed with his talent and his ability. He was as good a driver as anybody that's in the series today, and we trying to think of, the things that I think about when I talk, there's not any awesome stories, to be honest with you. I wrecked him at Dover racing for the championship. We were kind of neck and neck in the Xfinity Series championship. He'd been leading all day, and we had a restart, and I had a shot at trying to get the lead from him, and got loose off of 2 and took us both out. And that didn't. That wasn't. That hasn't affected our friendship. So early in our careers with so much on the line. Me and Matt have raced really hard on the track. We've gotten out of our cars and said "what the hell" to each other several times, but we stay friends. We just have a good friendship. And one funny thing that we talk about, we were getting our picture made for the cover of the ESPN magazine back when we were coming into the Cup Series. Express that there's all this hoopla about me coming in, and there's all this attention on me, but if you want to, you better watch this guy Matt. That was sort of the image was trying to express that this guy's, one you need to keep your eye on, and he's lurking over my shoulder. But Matt was really frustrated because the photographer was kept sliding Matt a little further behind me. And he kept getting more and more angry, and he's whispering in my ear how pissed off he was at this photographer because he's like, I can't even freaking see me. And I'm like, Matt, the story really, the image is to sort of show you as the real threat, and people are talking about me, and they should be talking about you. So, but it was so, we still talk about that today. We joke about it because we seem to always be together doing things. We were in a little bit of a run for several months being promoted together as two stars in the Xfinity Series moving into the Cup Series, so we spent a lot of time around each other and just had a really good time. He's never been a guy. All us drivers have terrible egos, and we can hardly stand each other and being around each other sometimes. But I've never felt that way about Matt. Matt's never done anything where I felt like he was inflating his ego. He's always just been Matt, and was a pleasure, such a pleasure to race with. and to know and to be friends with. So I hope that, and I know we will. I know he's more than likely going to be hard to find once he's out of the race car. But I hope that we can spend time together, and we'll definitely remain friends.
We're going to go to Kathy, and then Brian, and in the far back to Bob.
Kathy Brown, pitting outside the box. I'm sure you've been asked hundreds of times about what you want your legacy to be when you do finally retire. But I want to go the opposite way. If there's one thing in your racing career, bonehead maneuver, whatever, that you wish everybody would forget, what would that be?
Golly, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there's something. These are the questions that I don't come in with like a good mental note about. I'm sure there's some wreck. Oh, yeah. It would be really any crash that I probably started. I spun off a 4 here, and we had the track blocked after the wreck was done. Felt like a complete idiot. Tony Stewart said I was the no-driving asshole that day, which on that particular day he was right. I think that those are the. I started a crash on the back straightaway trying to bump draft. Trying to bump draft Marcus Ambrose in a test. We're testing, and it's in January, and everybody's cars are brand new. Everybody's testing their brand new Speedway car, and I started a crash on the back straightaway. And I'm like, oh, my bad. You know, you go in the garage, and you're like, man, I just want to go hide in a trailer. Everybody's tore up cars are coming in. All the crews are all pissed off. I mean, those are some of the worst moments as a driver, some of the most embarrassing moments. So anytime you do anything like that, you hope people have short memories.
Go to Brian.
Brian West, NBC. Has it sunk in that retirement's a week and a half away? And what are you most looking forward to about being a broadcaster?
I think the retirement's definitely creeping in. The weight of all that coming in a few days is definitely speeding up fast, and my feelings are coming to the surface about it. What am I looking forward to most? I think, man, it's hard. It's hard not to admit this, but to work with Steve. You know, I think that, I remember how awesome it was to work with him. And when we worked together, we spent a lot more time together around each other at home and around each other's families. And I love the guy. You know, he's like one of my best friends and somebody that I just think the world of. And so to be able to have the opportunity to have his ear about this whole process and be like, hey, you know, what's next? What do I need to prepare for? And having him on your side again, and having that opportunity to work with him is going to be just so. It'll be so helpful. It's gonna be awesome, fun, but I think it'll be just as helpful as he was as a crew chief. He's very good at encouraging me, and he just knows how to get the best out of me. And I think he'll be able to do the same thing in the booth. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm sure there's other things that I have no idea about that are going to be really awesome about it that I'm just clueless about. So because I'm so green and have no idea what I've got myself into.
We'll go to Bob and then Jeff.
Can you just talk about Alex Bowman and what advice you're giving him as he steps from subpar into real good equipment?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I told Alex about is, Alex, Alex raced over the last several years with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he invested in himself, and we all, I think, in this room know about his story and how hard he worked to get his opportunity. And I told him that now you have this opportunity, it's time to drop that chip and let people get to know you. They get to know the Alex, the good guy Alex, and the nice guy Alex, and not that he has shown anybody this, this rough, edgy, chip on his shoulder. But it's time for him to. He can stop feeling like that he's got it. It's him against the world, trying to get his foot in the door, because it's in the door and he's ready. Here's his chance. And so, man, put a smile on your face. Go to the racetrack. Have some fun. Enjoy what you're doing. You're here. You made it. And, express that, And I tried to help him understand be good with you guys, and you guys will be good to him, and that he's got a lot of responsibility with Nationwide, to be a professional, to be mature, to do a good job in and out of the car. It's going to be quite an experience and a tremendous change for him and in his profession. He's never been in this type of situation before. I think he's going to handle it well. But those are the kind of things that I've told him to make sure he's got his head on straight, because he's no more goofing around, And he has a great personality. He can hang on to that, to continue to show his personality and his engagement with the fans. It's awesome. But he can drop the chip, get to work, and have some fun. Yep.
Go to Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Sometimes you hear drivers say, oh, you never know when it's going to be your final career win. And there's a chance that this Phoenix race a couple years ago might turn out to be your final career win. Did that occur to you at all that day? I mean, it was kind of a weird victory, rain shortened. And if that is your final career win, is that like kind of awkward that it's just an odd race?
Yeah, I never thought about it as far as that way. But after our dry spell, every win after that, I celebrated it and thought about it being my last win. Like, the Daytona 500, Talladega, the July Daytona race, Martinsville, here, every one of them I'm thinking this might be the last, get it all out, have some fun, and boy, how lucky we are. That was the feeling every time we won. So yeah, we felt that way at Phoenix too. But I felt lucky. We were running good enough to win the race, and Greg had done some pit strategy that cycled us into the lead at the particular point when the rain came. And I'm just thinking, man, if you're gonna, that's how it's supposed to work. Your crew chief's supposed to have that vision, and man, he had it that day. I was so proud of Greg, and I felt lucky. I'm like, man, if you're going to back, it's great to back into them every once in a while, or luck into them every once in a while. And I've been on the other end of that, where you feel like you should have won the race and don't for some odd reason. So I was feeling like, heck yeah, because we would go straight to Key West from here. And then we drive to Homestead, and then we go back down to Key West after Homestead. So we partied hard before that Homestead race. It was fun. We had a hard time. We had a good time that night down at Captain Tony's. That's where we went.
We're going to wrap up with Wolfgang.
Dale, over here. You have raced here many times at PIR. Do you have any favorite memory or special race or any special moment here in Arizona?
The wins in the Bud car stick out, because that car was just so fast, turned so good in the middle of the corner. We used to come here, before we won a race here, we'd come here and I'd watch Jeff Burton go down into turn one, and he'd go straight, like beyond the corner, and turn really hard and drive across the bottom and off of turn two. And I was like, how in the hell is he doing that? I can't get my car to do that. And he was flying all the time. And I was often wondering, like, man, I wonder how that car's set up to drive that way, and how he knew to do that. I was chopping the entry and couldn't get my car to turn like that. And they would use the apron down in turn 1 and 2. We used to be able to go down in there and drive up on the apron some and turn the car. And man, that car would do it all. For several races here, in that little stretch, our car was just doing everything I wanted it to do. So much fun to drive. Tony Jr. had a smile on his face every time we came here for several years. We all look forward to coming here knowing we had such good speed and how well the car handles.
All right, Dale, thanks for joining us. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good weekend.